Alright, what's up yins guys? Time for another video. A video where I sarcastically and metaphorically talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games that people play and remind you again, or I'm gonna say again and be silly, has anybody played the actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game anymore or watched the reruns of the cartoon? But this is where I metaphorically and sarcastically compare the real life games people play to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it really is like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! and in real life people literally will create their own cards at will, but yet you're not allowed to even create cards to block the effects of their cards. But okay, this it's harder for me to attach a name for this particular Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, but if you have a better name for it or other names for it, by all means, you can tell me. But this particular one, I'm particularly calling it what it is. It's like a slow gaslighting card. And then just before I tell you, I'm going to explain this while first telling you where and why people do it. And I'm going to tell you what it's not, okay, to make it easier for you. Because I want to give you the extreme version as what people will be doing, right, as opposed to actual gaslighting. Alright, for example, what it's not, to tell you what it's not. And by the way, I'm going to say in parentheses while it's on my mind, both black and white people play this card. And while it's on my mind, I'm going to tell you, in a lot of your leftist and rightist politics, it's used in a sense by a lot of people who, both black and white, who play these racist or racial politics and reverse psychology cards. You know what I'm saying? For example, when I say this, the far right will get pissed at me for saying this, and the far left will get pissed at me for saying this too. But the far right, the far right will say, "Oh, microaggression doesn't exist," and mostly people who are on the play racial politics, not poking at anybody because of their color. As a matter of fact, the both black and the white leftists play this. They say microaggression right into how the far right say it don't exist. But I'm going to tell you how microaggression, if you want to label it that, but I have other names for it before I ever heard this fucking microaggression shit. Okay? First of all, I had friends that are black that talk about this behavior, and if you want to call it microaggression, it's done black on black, because I had friends that were black, and then, you know how you and me could have friends of the other color and say how, and we're not into race politics or games, but we have other names for this bullshit. It's passive aggression in a way, and it's like a type of gaslighting. And it's not always about race. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people some people that the better black Christians say other people the same color as them play this, and white people play against other white people. What the fuck you call it, it's very much real, and I'll tell you how it's played. Okay, it's done among certain religious people, and it's done when you and me of any colors were in school, whether you're a new person in school. And it's always played in the playing field, whether it's the religious side or, it's like where people played these games as teenagers, right? They were played on you back when you were in school, and then we're all grown-ass people, and then when workplaces, whether you're in religion or your workplaces, and it's usually played mostly from when we were in school up to when you're later black or white, you're going to churches, workplaces. Some of them are played by, okay, they're more too civilized to really swear in conversation. They do sometimes, well, some of them do, but it's usually played by the ones where Mr. and Mrs. Everybody loves me. I don't, and Mr. and Mrs. Oh, I don't speak a single ill word against anybody else. I light up the room when they come in, but this girl or guy can be a real bitch when they're not in front of other people. But they play their, okay, I'm bouncing back to what it's not, again, the extreme other sides. And if you got this far, explaining to you, because it's hard to get your head around. I'm not going to give too many examples, but you probably know a lot of them. It'll be a long-ass video. As opposed to the extreme version where people outright say shit, so you'll say something, whether you're black or white, or somebody the same color as you, or a different color than you, whether you're black or white watching, that there's no mistake. How they'll do it, looking to go off on somebody, where it gets into, to start a big argument. Well, fuck you, well, fuck you too. There's the other people that play this more subtle gaslight card. They don't do that. You know, we're in other places, you know, whether you're in a workplace or whether you're back in high school or whether you're in college or out in the streets or whatever. I'm trying to tell you the difference between outright gaslighting, where people can get beat up or get into fights over this, like into each other's face. Well, fuck you, or oh, fuck, I'm gonna beat your ass. How, you know what I mean? Instead of it being like that, or where, like, the gaslighting, it turns into fights where a bunch of people get all their friends or gaslight you and get a whole bunch of people really pissed at you and get a big rumor spread. You know, outright, boom, gaslighting that's done in politics. Instead of that, the more civilized, the Mr. or Mrs., if it's a guy or a girl, it's played different. The Mr. or Mrs. Everybody loves me. If it's a girl, the ones that hardly ever swear may be more prissy, whether it's in churches or in school. And a lot of times, if it's girls, there's always somebody that's a darling of the clique or the group, whether it's you're older, you're working in a factory, or you're in a school. Okay, there's some darling of the group, and it's like, and if it's girls, there's, oh, how you doing, baby girl? You know, you can be, it's like, say, somebody like me, or if you're a dude watching this, or you're another girl watching this, you'd be a clique of mostly women. The women play it, but then the dudes. A lot of girls play this, and, you know, they can be real, they have this too civilized, or they're too much of the everyone loves me. They have to pull that nice persona and act like sometimes act like they never swear, or some swear a little bit. So they won't be in your face, I'm going to beat your ass, or they don't start big gaslighting. They have to do it a little bit at a time. And they don't do the major big gaslighting because out openly, like a lot of people or have no quarrel with doing, whether it's racially or whether it's girls doing it to other girls, guys doing the shit to other guys, black, white, or black on black. You know what I mean? There are some people that they are very dependent on the mask, where other ones are ready to fight, ready to gaslight, get everybody pissed at you, start a big rumor, get everybody pissed at you, and everybody, a whole bunch of people wanting to beat your ass, or even if they don't want to beat your ass, right, get everybody to think you're a real scumbag, that you should have your ass beat. I'm back into the big gaslighting. They don't do the big gaslighting like I'm talking about, that I'm bouncing between the comparisons right now. It's always a slow burn. You know how if you would take the literal analogy, like somebody started a fire, it wouldn't be a forest fire. You could have an accidental or purposeful forest fire, or people do a slow burn, which could go bad, of course, too. A slow burn over. Okay, their thing would be more of a slow burn than a full-blown gaslighting, because they get pissed at you. What they would do if you got far in this video is a little bit at a time, stupid shit, small, subtle things, you know, hoping that you'll say anything. But not that I'm saying that I'm a total master of the deadpan reply. But with these people, if you're close to being a master of the deadpan reply, not a master per se, but pretty good at it, it goes in layers. It never turns into a big fight. But if it does, it takes a real long time. and you can see the look changes on their face. And for a matter of, for example, like when you first meet them, right? In any situation, you pick the situation, workplace, or whether you're in school, whatever age group. Everybody starts a first out meeting. You all smiles. Oh, how you doing, man? Or if a woman, oh, how you doing, baby girl? Blah blah blah, blah, different things like that. Or a mixture of guys and women in some workplace or something. Everybody pretends to be nice, but say they secretly don't like you for some reason. Instead of starting a fight like both, if you're black or white watching this, like that you'll get into a fist fight, somebody looking to go off on you. They do it in layers because they're too civil and too civilized. And they'll swear little or not at all. And it's kind of like a microaggression, a little bit at a time. And hoping that you'll, they're probing for you to slip up and acting all innocent. And maybe they'll follow up with you with a question. What do you mean? You ask them, oh, you'll act. Okay, you'll do some small deadpan reply, not sarcastic, and answer them, but in your head you know what they're pulling. You're being real polite. Sometimes it eventually turns into a joking. You try to counter them right with joking deadpan replies. In your own mind, you know what somebody's pulling. But in your own mind, they may feel, not that you're paranoid, they might want to make you feel like you're being paranoid. It's a battle of wit. It can go on for like a long time. And then, you might catch ear of some stuff like walking into a particular space in a workplace that you say if you move around in a workplace and hear something that's being said, and you blank-facedly pretend like you didn't hear it, or if you walk into it, you say something jokingly. Well, it's a thing that people will do. Not always turn into a fist fight, but they're hoping that you will go off on them. Unlike, okay, if you got this far in this video, unlike anybody with certain temperaments, if you're black or white watching, whether it's the same race as you or somebody other race as you, and it doesn't always have to be racial, so to speak, or it can be, whether it's another woman, you're a woman and it's another woman, or whatever, or if you're some woman or some guy and she wants to reverse psychology on you or some kind of a shit, like, they want you to, instead of somebody looking to go off, to start something and hope you'll say something, for them an excuse to go off on you and maybe get into a big verbal or even fist fight, right? It's a trick world. They want you to go off on them instead of, you know what I'm saying, if you're black or watch, even a woman watch in this time, instead of getting right into fights or something, these people will eventually get mad and start to yell, but they want you to maybe say something, even if it's not yelling, and then after you answer them, if you were to say, for example, a bunch of different things, like, for example, oh, what do you mean by that, or they might play it a toothy grin and be like, whoa, where are you? They'll try to make you like some kind of nut, like you're being paranoid, or so you don't address it. For the most part, a lot of us smarter people, we wait, don't go off on anybody. I'm trying to make this into and you can have other cards being played within this, and you can turn it into a long-ass video. I actually took 14 minutes to explain this, but you know what I mean? I wanted you to show what it's not. I had to explain the part as opposed to people looking to go off on you, which, if you get in a fist fight, you would want to avoid that, because anybody trying to go up, do shit or say shit, so you say something so they get mad. You don't got to just worry about, say, a fist fight or a back and forth verbal fight so they can gaslight you. Maybe if you're living in a city somewhere or a certain neighborhood, if you're black or white, somebody of the same race as you, they're doing this so they can go off on you and they want to shoot you. You know what I'm saying? In one extreme, the outright gaslighting turns into that, or they want to get their friends, right? You get into a verbal fight, it's an excuse. Maybe some of their friends are gangy and they want to get a bunch of people to beat you up or shoot you. And this ain't entirely racial, but yet the people who play the cards, both black and white people play the race cards, do this. If you're in area maybe the part about going off on somebody in a real violent way, looking to go off on somebody, both black on black and even people placed dominated mostly by Aryan nations where you're not, you could be white and there will play the outright thing, looking to go off on you the minute they don't like you. But unlike the ones looking to go off on you, they do, it's very passive aggressive and word things in a very sneaky way that they're too civilized to project that they're bias or prejudice against you any kind of way. And I'm saying this too, that you could be black watching this and people the same color you, or white the same color as you. You know what I'm saying? They're too civilized. They're groups of Mr. Everybody Loves Me, and there's usually somebody in a clique that's the darling of the group. You know what I mean? Whether male or female, they want you they want you to go off on them. You to get mad and, you know, act all innocent and all that. And it goes in layers. And unlike the thing where people looking for you to say something so they can go off on you, maybe a violent way, right? That happens right away, you know what I'm saying? Where this type of slow gaslighting, a slow burn gaslighting, it can go on for, if you're working or you're a kid in school, or if you're working next to certain people, it can go on for days, weeks, years, you know. And if you kind of are smarter and you're somewhat a master of a deadpan reply or joke things off, that other person, instead of you going off on them, they eventually will get pissed and yell at you for some shit. You know, they'll create a thing and create an outrage and get... I had it happen, you know what I mean? If you got this far in this video, you have anything to say. Nobody really makes any big comments about anything I'm saying here, but... and there might be YouTubers that talked about this in a forum. You know, I know there is. But they don't use the Yu-Gi-Oh card as an example, but a lot of YouTubers have talked about this shit. There's different names for it. And if you wanted to look on certain YouTubers talk about gaslighting. And I'll just tell you one more. And it's done in a relationship, people's ex-wives, ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends. But before I end this video, I'm just trying to show you, to explain and tell you what outright gaslighting is. And it's not that. Telling you what it's not. Instead of doing that, the more sneaky, highly civilized, the Mr. and Mrs. I'm the nice guy, I'm a nice girl, they pull the, they don't want to look a bias or look like the shit starter, right? They want to get you to just say something small so that they can say something, then make you say something that gives them an excuse to say something, to make you say something, to say something, so that they can say something and you go off on them. A reverse psychology, the important goal for them is you to go off on them. A sneakier version than other types of people that we've known, both black or white, whether you're in school or in work, or you guys went to a bar with, that started with it looking to go off on you. You know what I mean? People that are too civilized, that they are very reliant on their nice ego, which is nothing but a mask, you know, and they most likely might even, when they're not in front of all their friends they're trying to impress, they probably swear worse than any truck driver, you know what I mean, too. Whatever, you know what I mean? It is common for them to actually pretend not to swear in front of people. And some of them maybe swear a little bit, but they swear a little bit in conversation. But it's to try not to get repetitive, you have to compare it to what I just said. But this video is really over this time. But I actually the important goal, I'll say once again, it's a thing that you're supposed to go off on them, and it's not the people that want to get into fights where they're looking to go off on you. But they want to make you into one of those people, and they hope that you're one of these people. If you got this far in this video and didn't turn it off, I wanted to say that too. If anything at all, without being repetitive, that they already have you pegged out and want you to look like the one that's looking to go off on somebody and to get. That's why I brought up that's why I kept repeating and bringing up the person that's looking to go off on somebody. That's why I brought that up and repeated so much, because that's one of their goals, is to make you look like that without them looking like that, and egg you on to be like that. And the best way, if you will, to avoid that, which eventually makes them mad, it takes a long time, is to be a somewhat master of the deadpan reply, or to joke things off, or like say, and don't even say outright. Oh, eventually you might even say enough is enough and tell these people, right, that I know what, you know what, fuck you, I know what you're trying to pull. Fuck you, alright, you know what I'm saying, you know.